Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I got an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is my guy. He is 42 years old, married 17 years, and recently had to really lay down the law with his wife when she crossed the line. So much so that he said pretty much, hey, I'm going on vacation, have the divorce papers ready. And holy crap, the effect that had on her. You're going to see, guys, in this story, upon his description of her, that while it seems like physically she's very good looking for her age, she definitely is masculine. And like a lot of masculine gals, they try to always test the barriers to run the show. And in this situation, they had a little bit of a disagreement, if you will, and he was calling her crap, and he got a whole lot of attitude, and boom, crossed the line with him. And this story is a great one to make the point on two main things. One, don't get involved with masculine girls. You're going to be locking horns with her your whole life over control and power. It ain't worth it. But two, the power of walking away or the threat of walking away. Guys, your girl needs to know that if she crosses your boundaries or the line with you, she needs to know that you are prepared to walk. You will give up everything, every luxury you have in your life, go through a miserable divorce, then to be disrespected for a second. Women do not respect weakness, okay? And there are a lot of women out there, especially the masculine ones, that want to run the relationship, and they have no problem bossing around a guy, but they still are going to be, even though they're masculine, are attracted to a guy that puts them in their place. And you'll see what happens when this guy, clearly who's been slacking and putting her in his place for a while, puts her in his place. It's a very good one for you relationship guys. And this will also be a good one for you guys that have walked away that don't need to deal with this crap day in, day out. He says, Dear SSM, you can call me Chris, and I'd like to start out by saying thank you for all your videos and helping guys across the world regain their pride and manhood back one video at a time. Brother, it's my pleasure, and thank you for watching. It is currently 5:38 a.m., and I am a 42-year-old male at the airport headed to the Bahamas for a 2-week vacation on Tuesday morning. 14 hours earlier, I told my wife of 17 years of 5 kids, who are 19 through 25, to have divorce papers ready when I get back from my trip. And here is the short story that led to those words leaving my mouth. The guy wrote this story a few days ago. In my home Saturday nights are for my wife and I to relax and drink during the evening. During this time, my wife will dress in sexy lingerie and high heels, the works. This is something that my wife and I have been doing pretty much since the beginning of our relationship without fail. That's pretty impressive given that you said 5 kids and all, but you had that night for you and, good times. And based on your description here, if she's doing that, the high heels, the lingerie and all that, obviously physically she's feminine and attractive. It's just her personality that's mannish, and that's a problem. As you can imagine, working full-time with 5 kids, my wife and I didn't have a lot of adult time together when the kids were young. But Saturday evenings were the one time that we both knew was dedicated just for us. So much so that our children jokingly say that we mentally scarred them because they always knew that Saturday nights meant that mom and dad were definitely getting it on. Obviously, that's when they went to the grandparents' house or something like that, Well, this past Saturday night, my wife and I were doing our typical thing. She handed me her phone to show me some spicy pictures on her Reddit account. During this time, she was looking at some spicy pictures I had on my phone, which is cool. My wife and I have a very open and honest relationship. We can show and talk about other people that we find attractive, and it's never an issue. Okay, well, to each their own. I mean, I can see obviously a lot of problems in this, but if both of you like to, on your own phones, knowing what you're both doing, looking at spicy things together, maybe to motivate you and give you ideas in the bedroom, okay, you're 2 adults, you're married, that's fine. But the problem is that when, instead of using it to view things, when somebody's using it to draw attention to themselves or interact, that's the problem. When I had my wife's phone, I did something I typically do not do. I clicked on the account settings tab on Reddit and down-dropped 3 different accounts. I knew of all of them except one. Uh-oh, here we go. So naturally, in my drunken state, I clicked on it. I didn't read deeply into the account because I quickly realized that it was an account that she was using to post questions anonymously. Oh, what kind of questions? One of the questions was about an ongoing conversation we had about her still buying the kids, who are in the 18 to 25-year-old range, Easter candy, and she wanted outside perspective. The shit people ask about online for people's opinions, really? Asking others about buying candy for Easter candy? Who gives a shit? If she has joy making baskets for her kids that are 18 and 25, whatever. I want to know about the other questions she's asking you don't know about. Also, for the record, my wife and I did not share any children together. I have 2, and she has 3. And he also says, I have a pretty good marriage, and for the most part, things work out great. But I still would not suggest any man to marry a single mother. Yeah, you married a single mom. Smack! And right here he's admitting, don't do it. Because obviously you had your share of headaches. But at the time, you probably thought it was a good idea. You got a couple kids, she's got a few kids, da-da-da-da, but still, the same crap is going to be there. Anyway, when my wife saw me on that particular Reddit account, she snatched her phone from me and refused to let me see it. You're not helping your case, sweetheart. Now you make me suspicious. And that account that I don't know about. Now, for the record, I read enough of the account that I know the account was truly just her getting her opinions and nothing more. What I truly suspected is that she snatched her phone, one, because she considers that part of her private thoughts. Also, from the little bit that I did read, people were agreeing with me about the subject, and I don't think that she liked that very much, and more importantly, she didn't want me to know about it. Yeah, the longer you're married, the more when there is a topic of disagreement, people will go to war to see who's right. You ever see old married couples like debate and argue things? They will not stop over the smallest, most no big deal thing. You guys are married, you know what I'm talking about here. During this time, I didn't press the issue because, one, I don't like arguing when I'm drinking or high. And two, I know there was nothing in the account that was truly worth fighting over at the time. Also, during this time, my wife made a statement about her privacy and saying something to the effect of, I need her promise to go through her things. And that if she knows then the final word, and I will not be allowed to go through or view the item. I guess obviously not. Sounds to me like you have an open phone policy, but it's more like you have the open phone policy for your phone, but she doesn't have for hers. No. Now, SSM, I've been drinking, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, but I knew right then and there that this shit was not going to fly with me, and that I would need to deal with her and her thinking. Now, for the record, I want to make myself very clear as to why I drew a hard line on this issue. It has nothing to do with insecurity, nor does it have anything to do with what was actually in her phone. It is simply the fact that once you allow your woman or wife to start talking or thinking that way, the next thing you know, she'll be telling you when she's coming home and telling you 3 o'clock in the morning. And saying that it's none of your concern. This is how you get to that point. Little steps. I'm the type of guy that will let you know when we are not taking any steps. He's absolutely right about that. Because just like children, women will test the boundaries and barriers. All the time. In varying degrees, but all the time. And when you start letting things slide, then the boundaries higher and higher and higher of things they'll try to pull. It's like a death by 1,000 cuts, and guys wake up one day and be like, what the fuck is going on here? When did this start? How did I become such a pee-whip mangina? Like that. So that's why you can't let signs of BS slide. Her attitude here, and something's up, and that can't fly. Now, before we go any further into the story, you need to understand the type of woman my wife is. Now we're getting down to it. You're going to see the problem. Some women say they don't need a man, but my wife truly doesn't need a man for nothing. My wife can and has done the following things. Fix cars, sanding tables, shovel 2 tons of rocks and mulch for hours on end in the summertime garden, did her own garden, fix plumbing issues, cut grass, paint the house, use any tool that I can use. And also, she makes twice as much money as I do, earning a good 6-figure income, working for a major insurance company. Okay, so that's great and all. She's competent enough to do all those things and has the confidence to go for it. Great. That's stuff that you don't have to do. I respect her success at the insurance company and all that. The problem is, and also the attitude she's giving you, she sounds like a dude. A hard-headed, masculine dude. And you can't have two people in a relationship. You have to behave like dudes, 2 masculine people. It's not going to work. You're going to constantly butt heads. And I have a hard time believing that this is the first time you two have butt heads over things. And we're just getting started about her masculine attitude. That is something no bueno. I could not have in a relationship. I like feminine, soft women. And the second any of that G.I. Joe shit starts coming up, whoosh, goodbye. And I'm sure a lot of you guys understand that. So you've been dealing with this a long time. It's probably just built up and built up and built up. And we'll see in a second. When people meet my wife, the one word that comes out of everybody's mouth is how incredibly smart she is. I'm telling you this so that you have a good understanding of this woman. She is a no-nonsense type of girl, and for the most part, she gets her way, but this wasn't going to fly. Did you just say she most part gets her way? Smack! You mean with you? Because you let her. Because you probably don't want to fight. Because, again, it's two bulls locking horns. This is what happens when you're in a relationship with a masculine girl. I'm visualizing a woman in her early 40s, because you're 42, I'm guessing about the same age, who physically, in terms of like her facial features, her body, is feminine. Has the hair long, painted nails, in decent shape, all these feminine things. But the second she opens her mouth, or maybe if you're good enough to notice her body language, it's masculine. And obviously her personality and characteristics and interest, she's more like a dude. Not good. Now I'm the type of guy that takes his time and thinks before he makes a move. So I waited until Monday after work to have this conversation with my wife, and it went like the following. Okay, remember her personality here, and now he's about to check her on some shit. Let's see how this goes. I asked my wife if she truly thought that I needed her promise to go through anything that she owns. My wife immediately responded with all the big, listen to this, with all the big boss bad bitch energy, looking me directly in the eyes and said, absolutely. Did you just say big boss bad bitch energy? Yeah, no thanks. Dude, this does not sound like a fun marriage to me. My reply was immediate but firm. You know me, why on earth would you think that would fly with me? My wife then explained to me that I wasn't her father, and also began to explain to me that I do not control her, nor do I control anything she does, and more importantly, I will not be going through anything of hers without her promises or permission. Back to the big boss bad bitch energy. Dude, she may physically be appealing, but personality-wise, she's masculine, hard-headed, one of these G.I. Joe chicks. No thanks. And clearly she wouldn't be saying all this and behaving in this way as if she hasn't gotten away with it for a long time. You said yourself she's used to getting her way. This is why you can't do this, guys. I'm glad now you're finally... It's like the guy waking up and saying, what the hell? Death by 1,000 cuts. She says, do you get that? Do you understand what I'm saying to you? I have the right to keep anything I want private and do as I please. Oh. He says, which is ridiculous because she knows she doesn't have the right to do as she pleases. Let's get real. My wife knows she can't come home all kinds of late hours of the night or hang out with other males and that type of nonsense. I hear on your channel. So why she said that, I don't know. But apparently she needed to be reminded of this. I looked my wife dead in the eyes and told her with a laugh, you have no rights to do any of that, and as long as you're my wife, you will do no such thing. See? 2 bulls in a pen, locking horns. Life is too short for this shit. God almighty. But we got a good story out of it and making a few points, guys. My wife then begins to speak some more, saying how she has these rights and I can't do X, Y, Z. I simply told her that I'm not that type of man that will allow his wife to do whatever she wants, nor will I tolerate my wife telling me, keeping me, or preventing me from seeing or viewing any information in my house. She began to say something else, but honestly, I stopped listening because I already knew the outcome. Yeah, she's fucking sounding off and probably doing the fucking, I don't know, the Tusken Raider thing. Well, that sounded more like a Wookiee. My bad. At this point, I raised my voice to my wife, and I typically never do that, and during this time, I tell her the following things. Not only do you have the right to do as you please, not only do you not have the right to do as you please, you also do not have the right to prevent me from looking or going through anything you own. If you were my girlfriend when things would be different, and maybe I wouldn't take such a hard stance, but you're my wife, and I will not tolerate this type of behavior or talk. Here we go, again locking horns. I then explained to my wife that she doesn't need my promise to go through anything that I own, nor should she ever feel the need to think twice if she needs to do so because she's my wife. There you go. His phone, here you go. Look at it anytime you want. I got nothing to hide. He looks at hers, she's ripping out of his hands. Guys, you have to pay attention to shit like that because you have heard countless stories about them guarding their phone the way a Jedi would guard his lightsaber. You know, you have to... Something's up. My wife being stubborn and a strong woman, she's starting to put up another fight. I simply held my hands up and said the following to her. I'll divorce your ass over this. I will not put up with this from any woman. Good for you, man. And I gotta say, I've been doing this too long. I've lived too long. I don't think this is just about her Reddit account. If she is that protective of her phone and losing her shit over that, there may be more things going on that you realize or don't realize, my man. My wife then looked shocked and asked in a low tone if I really would divorce her and give up all that we have. And she waves around the house, meaning the house, the trucks, and the multiple vacations. I'd rather be broke, living in a car, and no, I don't live in my car, guys, in spite of all your jokes, than married to or in a relationship with a gal who's some hard-headed, bossy, G.I. Joe woman with an attitude like that. No thanks. During this time in my head, I literally heard you, SSM, and your many lessons. Lesson number 1, the worst thing you can give a woman is certainty. If she has this, then she'll pull a type of bullshit. And lesson 2, the power of walking away. Correct. When you give them certainty and they think they're not going anywhere, that's when disrespect and bullshit can start and it will start at some point. And the power of walking away, they got to know they pull shit, push you too far, you're out of there. Well, watch what happens when he does. Well, I stared at my wife directly in her eyes and I said, absolutely. As I walked out of my wife's office, I looked back and I told her to get the divorce papers ready. I'll sign them when I get back. I then went downstairs to my man cave to get ready to cut the grass so that I can leave on my trip the next morning. Good for you, man. And by the way, your house should be your man cave. What's the rest of that? You have your man cave, the rest of the house is hers? Both you guys own that house. I don't want to hear about your little man cave. The whole house should be your man cave. I'm going to point that out there. But anyhow, good. Now you're walking away. Now let's see what she does. When I came back upstairs, my wife looked at me with her head down at her desk and slowly said quietly, I understand what you're saying. I just don't like being told what to do. Now she's starting to submit. The head's down, she's crouching down, she's cowering. And that is true, my wife hates being told to do something. No shit. That's what the modern day masculine chicks, they're all like that. I told my wife that I never understood guys that marry women and their wives tell them what they can and cannot do. I explained to her that I will never live like that. She eventually came outside when I was cutting the grass to work on her garden. During this time, she hugged and kissed me. Now she's turning on the What happened to the hard-headed hard ass I was giving you a hard time earlier? Now she's cowering, lowering her head, saying what she said, now come and hug and kiss you. She realized you mean business. During this time, she hugged and kissed me. Afterwards, she helped a little bit in the yard. I smacked her in the ass, and she went into the house to take a shower and make me her delicious chicken sliders. And now she's cooking for you. Amazing how quickly she can go from hard-headed masculine G.I. Joe chick to being a submissive feminine woman when you lay down the fucking law and show you're not going to tolerate any shit. That's my point. My wife didn't say it out loud, and she understood my demands, and she never will because it's not how she works. But that was her way of saying, okay, I hear you, and I'll fall in line. I'm going to tell you the realest thing a woman and my wife has ever said to me. She said, and this is obviously not that day, but at some point he says, that I'm a strong, independent woman, and I don't need a man for shit. I'm with you because I want you, not because I need you. The problem with my previous relationships and my first marriage was the fact that nobody knew how to take me. I could do whatever I wanted, I could say whatever I wanted, and I could go wherever I wanted. But you do not allow this type of behavior. You will not tolerate that from me. You make me feel like a big bad dog who can't bark, growl as loud as she wants. But at the end of the day, you look at me like a little chihuahua and say, woman, we're not doing any of this shit. So in other words, previous guys always let her walk all over them. I mean, dude, no offense, but it sounds like in many ways, she's walked all over you, hence the attitude and stuff you've been getting, or maybe lately. But obviously it was a lot worse in prior relationships. But she knows with you, she can't do that so much. But obviously lately you've been slipping because she's been pulling that shit. Any man hearing the story and living like this with her wife, I have one question. Why are you married if you can't ever touch your phone? That's a good question. Or why are you married to a woman like that if this is the shit you're getting all the time? That's what I'm asking. That is not marriage. You have kids, mortgage, car notes, bank accounts, insurance policies, and benefits. Yet you're not allowed to touch a phone simply because she said so. I refuse to be that man. I refuse to live that way. He also says, P.S. I'm now in the Bahamas, now traveling on foot with a backpack and my sister. Really getting to know the people and not just the tourist areas, eating the Bahamas food. So far, we're having an awesome time. The end. Well, here's the big question that I still don't get, and I've read this 3 times so far today. Maybe you guys can let me know. I can't tell if that was you're serious, and you are ending it with her, or that was basically you were bluffing, but you weren't bluffing, you were serious, but if she doesn't lose the attitude. I'm not quite sure if you're going back home and you're divorcing her, or that was enough to give her a threat to cut the bullshit. I don't know. But all I'm going to say is this, man, what you're describing there, women, I mean, obviously, like I said, she's masculine, and that'd be a total turnoff for me, regardless of how she looks physically. She may look fantastic physically, but she's obviously masculine on multiple fronts and has that attitude. There's no fucking way I would ever get in a relationship with that, let alone a serious one. Do you want to deal with that the rest of your life? You can't tell me it's not going to worsen over time. And even if you can, on occasion, like you did, check her and scare her into cutting the bullshit and putting her in her place, which obviously you did temporarily. But you know darn well, my man, from your own experience and these stories I've covered over the years, that you can go back and she'll be all hugging and kissing you and trying to get you to stay. And the next month, it'll be the same bullshit all over again. Do you really want to go through that all the time? Because eventually a lot of guys just get so worn down, they become these wet puppies. It's not worth it, but it is your life. So I'd really like to know from you how this thing plays out and whether you're actually, that was a threat. And obviously she caved and she cut the bullshit. Or are you dead serious? And when you get back from the Bahamas, a little vacation to clear your mind, you're done. I mean, it's your life, but, I mean, you said yourself you have adult kids. I'm sure some are out of the house. Some are her kids, some are yours. You know, it's a different situation now. You're 42, man. I'm 6 years older than you. I wouldn't put up with that shit the rest of my life. You got the opportunity to start over, and not to deal with that, but that's on you. But anyhow, man, I'm glad to hear you got your balls back, because given her behavior, it sounded like you may have taken a break from laying down the law and being the man of the house. It sounds to me like she's been the man of the house for a while. And again, I think that's nice. She can shovel mulch and do gardening and know how to make repairs with the plumbing and the car and all that. Great. That's stuff that you have to do. But usually when a gal does that, that's usually associated with that she's typically masculine. Okay? I mean, I've yet to see a gal that could do all that stuff that wasn't masculine, you know, physically looking great, but the attitude there, no thanks. But, and typically when women get that kind of attitude like she did with you, that's usually after a while in her mind of her losing respect for the guy. When a woman really respects the guy, she'll behave like your wife was when you laid down the law and said, get the divorce papers ready, I'm out of here. Look how she cowered then when you came back to her office. And she's now hugging and kissing you, going off to cook your chicken sliders. Right? So there you go. So, man, let me know how it goes. But the overall lesson of the story, guys, is don't get involved with the masculine girls. Be prepared to always lead. And don't ever let them take charge. Otherwise, this is the shit that's going to happen. You got to be able to prepare to walk. They don't respect the guy that is a sure thing. When you give them certainty, that's when bullshit happens. And when they start bullshit, you better be darn well prepared to check them and prepare to walk. That you'd rather live in your car, because I don't live in my car, but live in your car, then deal with that. You'd give it all away instead of dealing with the peace. Because otherwise, you know. So, man, enjoy the Bahamas. And I want to hear an update on what the heck is going on here in this whole marriage. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.